Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We have Sean and we have Harrison back from his 2-week vacation. How we doing, fellas?
Awesome.
What's up, boys? How we doing? How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing all right. School is just about over. Got like 12 days
Indeed.
left, and I am counting it down. So
Indeed.
I
Fight Club.
cannot
Fight Club's almost over.
for this year. Wait till August. But anyways, all right. Before we get going, make sure you follow us and like us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram. You can also subscribe on YouTube or listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Leading off, we're going to start with Ronel Blanco from the Astros, who got a 10-game suspension for sticky stuff on his glove. No, he's not going to appeal it. So this is what happened was it's actually found out that it was rosin that he had put on his glove. And after the first inning, they checked it. They said it wasn't egregious. But after like the third inning, it had started to build up kind of on his glove, which I guess is against the rules. The rosin bag can only go on your bare hand. The rosin bag cannot make contact with the ball. It cannot make contact with the glove, or you can't have a buildup on the ball or the glove. So he gets tossed. And I mean, do you have an issue with it? I mean, it's the rosin. It's the stuff that they put out on the field. Like, it's not like it's spider tack or pine tar that he's bringing out there himself. It's the stuff you're providing on the field mixed with his sweat, which is what rosin is made to do.
Well, no, I guess if that's the rule, though. Like, if the rule is that it's for your hands, right? You said that was the rule. There's no buildup allowed on the glove, no buildup allowed on the ball. Like, I can't imagine, like, you can't plead ignorance to this anymore if you're pitching. Like, this is like what, the third year that they're doing this, like, umpire every couple innings checking, right?
Yeah.
As you're coming off the field. We've seen this is what, the third year, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the rules. Like, the rules are the rules. Like, I don't, it's really hard to plead ignorance and be like, okay, like, he didn't know. Like, you got to know. I mean, it's your job to know. I do think it's a dumb rule considering it is the substance that they provide to you in order to keep, like, what kind of advantage are you getting from building that up on your glove? Like, how is that any different? Like, are you truly getting an advantage rather than going to the rosin bag every batter? Like, I don't understand.
You can. So you can get an advantage by building it up on your glove. So Nick's favorite guy, Trevor Bauer, did a whole thing on rosin. And what a lot of these guys were doing is they would either build it up under their cap or on the glove, and they'd wipe the sweat off their forehead, mix it with the rosin they had stashed somewhere to give them the tack on their fingertips, and then grab the ball. The rosin is designed to like absorb the sweat off your hands and give you some texture. But when you actually mix sweat and rosin and make like a paste, it becomes almost like spider tack. So that's what a lot of these guys do is they'll wipe the sweat off their brow, mix it with some of the rosin they've got somewhere else, arm, glove, hat, and they'll basically create their own sticky stuff.
And that's different.
That's likely what he was doing by having the buildup on the glove.
So that's different than wiping your brow and then picking up the rosin bag?
Yeah, because when you just put the rosin on your hand doesn't hold that much moisture, so it just kind of dries things out. When you actually mix sweat in repeatedly and build like a paste out of the rosin,
gotcha,
that's when you get like a sticky stuff effect.
Okay. Well, then that's the rule. Then that's the rule. Then I don't have a problem with the suspension then. You know, I mean, if you know you're not supposed to do it, if we're in year 3 of this and you know that that's the rule, I mean, that's why he's not appealing it.
Right.
Right. I mean, if this was year 1 and he truly didn't know, I mean, that the appeal would already be underway.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would have appealed immediately.
He got caught.
In the article I read, it said the manager just said he wants to focus on getting back to pitching. So instead of dragging out the appeal process, which takes, another 2 weeks and then serve your 10 games, it's a mess. Yep. So miss your 1 start and come back after the 10 game and he's fine. But it's just, I don't know. I get it. Like not stashing it somewhere or building it up on your glove. I was like, but it's the stuff that you're providing. It's not like it's Michael Pineda and you got the pine tar smear on your neck that you're going to all the time. Like it's
talk about bleeding ignorance too. He was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, there's nothing on my neck.
I got no idea.
Like, I mean, man, I don't know. It's like that's the stuff you provided. I just
that guy from the 90s
MLB
with the nail file in his back pocket, and they went down through it as he was like emptying his pocket.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword from MLB because you give the guys rosin, you encourage them to use it so that they can keep a grip, and then when they find a way to use it better, you punish them for it. So like I hear what you're saying, Sean. Like you're giving this to the guys. Like you can't punish them for using it, but at the same time, like the players are smart and they figured out the workaround to get a better product out of that by doctoring it. And it's like where do you draw the line? You know, do you want?
No, I don't know if that's that much of a gray area. I mean, these are the things you're allowed to do with it. These are the things you're not allowed to do with it. Like you take that into the classroom. Every kid has Chromebooks, and if you are using your Chromebook to cheat on a test, you are using the material that I gave you, and you're using it in a way that you know you're not supposed to use it. That's like that would be like no teacher's gonna be like, well, okay, I guess you can cheat because it's the Chromebook that I gave you. Like, no, you are allowed to use it for certain things, and then other things you're not. Like, I get that. I don't think that's that much of a gray area. But I mean, if it's written in the rules that you can't do that, then you can't do that. I get that. I get. I have no problem with the suspension.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
And MLB's got to take the approach of if he's got to build up somewhere, he's probably doing that whether we can prove it or not. So you kind of have to address it because I think it's at the point where MLB has basically said, hey, look, here's the line, and we're not going to mess around with where the line is. We're going to draw the line, and that's it. And if you cross it even a little bit, we're going to treat you just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But now at the same time, you look at the start that Ronel Blanco has had. Has he been doing this all along and just didn't get caught? Like it now makes you wonder, like, has he really burst onto the scene as this really, really good major league pitcher? Or has he been cheating for 6 weeks and he just finally now got caught? I'll be curious what he looks like when he comes back.
Same.
You know, if he's back to being a mediocre pitcher, then you're going to know that, okay, well, he was gaining an advantage and he had a great 6-week run.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see the umpires immediately take his glove right off the field. Like they pretty quarantined it. It was like, well, okay, there goes. Bye. Start breaking in a new one, dude, because this one's going away. Like crazy. But
well, that was like the days of the Albert Bell corked bat where the umpires put it in the umpire room and Jason Grimsley broke into the umpire's room to take it away. Now these guys literally they lock this stuff up in the umpire's room behind, I think it's in a safe, so it can't be taken, and then they submit it to MLB.
It's crazy. All right. An unfortunate injury to one of the star rookies here for the Giants, Jung Ho Lee, however you want to say it, tears his labrum. He goes back on a ball in deep center field, jumps up and makes almost an incredible play. His elbow hits the top of the pad as he's reaching for the ball, which jars his shoulder completely back and tears his labrum. So he is out, season-ending shoulder surgery. Tough loss for that Giants team that's starting to find their stride a little bit here. But I mean, tough to see him.
Yeah, it's too bad too. I'm going down Saturday to see the Mets. We'll be down there for a wedding in New York, so we're going to the Mets game against San Francisco. I would have loved to see that guy play.
That would have been awesome.
He is such a good outfielder. The bat was coming along. He wasn't where he wanted to be, but defensively, he is so good.
He gets to everything. It was crazy.
He does. He catches everything.
Yeah. Another kind of baseball anomaly this week, Aaron Nola with a 3-pitch inning against the Mets. I think they said it took 85 seconds for that half of the inning. So started with a leadoff single by Marte, a line out by Lindor, and then a 5-4-3 double play by Alonso, and inning over. Next.
But it's odd, too, that a 3-pitch inning has a hit in there.
Right.
Like that, as if 3-pitch innings don't happen very often, but it's even odder to have a hit mixed in.
I think I'm surprised. I mean, not really surprised, but there's a potential now for a 2-pitch inning in Major League Baseball history. In extra innings with a runner on second base, you could line out, get a double play, double them off second base, and then the next pitch will fly out, innings over on 2 pitches. So I'm just waiting for the day that happens. But
could be done.
It'd be crazy. What
a great way to like get deeper into a game by having a 3-pitch inning. Imagine if you get a guy like Paul Skeens to go have like a 3, 4, 5-pitch inning every so often.
Oh.
I don't even have his line in here from this week. I completely spaced it out, but his start was ridiculous.
Nola had more warm-up pitches to get ready for the inning than he had in the inning. That's crazy.
Yeah. What was Paul Skeen's line the other day? Was it
six innings, no hitch? So I think, was it 6 innings, no hits?
Yeah, against the Cubs.
10 Ks, I think. Just disgusting. Crazy.
He was nasty.
Yeah. And then another pitcher that's off to a really hot start, Shota Imanaga. 0.84 ERA through his first 9 starts. This guy, we've talked about him the last couple of weeks, just pounds the strike zone. It's like, here's my stuff, you can hit it or not hit it in this case. But he's must-watch TV for me. Like when he starts, I'm tuning into that game.
He's not a comfortable at bat. Like you can't get comfortable. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. He throws everything for a strike, every pitch, and it's not like the fastball is a strike to set up the off-speed stuff out of the zone swings, and like everything is, he can throw anything for a strike if he wants to. Anything can end up in the strike zone. It's crazy.
Yeah, I watched him K a guy the other night on like a 3-2. It was a 3-2 slider, and I'm like, who throws a 3-2 slider? Like the guy throws everything for a strike, and he'll start you with off speed, then work back to the fastball. Like there's zero pattern to how he pitches. He just throws whatever because he can throw it all, and he's a robot. He just pounds the zone.
Yeah,
pounds the zone.
It's impressive to watch for sure. The Rockies, the Colorado Rockies were hot last week. 7-game win streak. To put this in perspective, you ready for this? In the first 36 games, the Rockies were 8-28. They had a team ERA of 5.67. They scored only 3.6 runs a game and only hit 235 as a team. And during the 7-game win streak, 6.1 runs a game, 1.86 ERA, and a 3.06 average. So they literally doubled their season win total in a week by just going on a 7-game run. But then they got swept by the Giants. So that ended that real quick.
And then they're still 6.5 behind Arizona for 4th place in the division.
Yeah. Right. Which
only one game better than the White Sox for the worst record in all of baseball.
After a 7-game win streak. But it's just
tough.
crazy. But you know what? Good for them. Like, good to rattle a 7-game win when you haven't won anything the rest of the year. So
sure.
Well, and I love the trivia question you guys had last week about the 3 managers with 1,000 wins. Because Bud Black of the Rockies is one of those guys, mostly because he's managed for so long. But like he's been in Colorado forever, and that team just continues to be mediocre. But he's been there.
They're not mediocre.
I'm trying to be generous.
That team's not mediocre.
They've had better seasons than this, but that team has not been good. They've not been a threat for a long time, and he just continues to plod along out there.
Yeah, it's brutal. And right before we came on tonight, Rafi Devers hits a homer in his 6th straight game against the Rays tonight. So that's a new Red Sox record. It's about time this guy got hot. Hopefully he can stay healthy because, we've seen Rafi with the shoulder in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Was it the shoulder again at the beginning of the season? Then it was the knee. I just need this guy to stay healthy to have, for the Red Sox to even have any shot if they even have one. But
and what's sad is the Red Sox have won 2 of those 6 games he's homered in.
Yeah, they got demolished by the Cardinals last series. So
yeah, and I get it. Like all the injuries, they've got that lineup is like a AAA lineup because everybody's hurt. But it's like, my God, it's night after night. It is brutal. So
Houck is dealing right now though. Houck is.
They continue to pitch well.
5-zip in the bottom of the 7th, and Houck is 1 hit. I mean, or maybe 2 hits now, but he's dealing.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this Red Sox team going forward? Do they even have a legit shot at the playoffs, or are they just kind of middle of the road, just sitting there?
They're middle of the road. I think the sad part is, sad's not the right way to look at it, but the odd part is the Sox are 1.5 out right now. I mean, it's May 20th, but they're 1.5 games out of a playoff spot. I mean, this is not like the recent Phillies teams that like get the last wild card spot and then like underperformed for a lot of the year and played well down the stretch and make the postseason and then go on a run in the postseason. Like this Red Sox team is not going to do anything in the postseason.
Right.
So it's like, it's almost like when you have a team that is playing 500 baseball, they're hovering around. They're a couple games under, and then they win a couple. They go to maybe one game over, and then they lose a couple. Like they're hovering, the delta 3, 4, 5 games around 500. To be in the playoffs, to be in the playoff race at that point, it's almost like it solidifies what front offices and ownership is doing, because it's like, well, I mean, it's August and they're a game and a half out. It's like, yeah, but like this is the Red Sox. It should be August and you should be a game and a half out of winning the division, not a game and a half out of the last wild card spot. You know what I mean? It's like it becomes frustrating because it's like this is not what you're looking for as a fan. You're not looking for 500 baseball squeak in and be like, oh well, we made the playoffs. Go get them next year.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And adding that extra wild card spot makes all the difference.
It does.
Yeah,
it really does.
So I don't know. They're a middle of the road team. Like they're gonna hover around 500. They're gonna go on runs where they get 5, 6, 7 games up, and then they're gonna go on droughts where they're 2, 3, 4, 5 games back. I mean, they're gonna hover right at 80 wins.
Yeah,
it's gonna suck that you're hovering there, and do we sell guys? Are we sellers at the deadline? Well, how can you be sellers at the deadline when you're 1.5 games out of a playoff spot? Like, how can you be sellers? But don't you dare go buy one guy at the deadline, because one guy ain't going to make the difference.
Right.
Yeah,
you're stuck in the middle.
So it's like you're stuck in the middle. It's that you're in that weird spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the teams were this offseason. That's why a guy like Blake Snell didn't go, because he doesn't necessarily put anybody over the top by himself. But like you look at the Red Sox, they're 12th in the league in runs scored. They're second in the league in ERA. But when you look at the split of starter versus reliever, their bullpen's a huge liability this year. Last year, this team scored runs, got no starting pitching, had a great bullpen. This year, they score runs, not as much as last year, but they're scoring runs. They're getting great starting pitching, and their bullpen's a liability. Like they cannot seem to sync all 3 phases up. And their expected win-loss is 27-20. They've got they've kind of thrown away 4 games. But
you're not
on top of it, defensively watching this team play every night is also brutal.
Lead the league in errors.
Brutal.
It's pathetic. It's
the bad news bears out there.
And I'm a core guy, but at what point do you look at the manager and be like, do you not prioritize defense? Like defense matters. And I will give him, I'll talk out the other side of my mouth for a quick second. You got to give him a little bit of slack, like with the shortstop position. It's been a revolving door. It's been a nightmare since Story got hurt. They haven't really been able to get anybody in there.
No.
And it's like they want to put Rafael in there, but like he's not. They don't see him apparently as an everyday shortstop. They want him in the outfield. And so like he gets a couple days at shortstop and then he's in the outfield, and then he gets a couple days at shortstop, and then we're filling in with David Hamilton. It's just like it's
right.
just a shame. It's a shame. And it's I mean, we talk for years, man. Like I don't care how the game is changing. You have to be strong up the middle if you want to have any chance at competing in this league.
Yeah.
Defensively, you got to be strong up the middle. Catcher, middle infield, center field. You have to be. If you're not strong up the middle, you don't have a chance at sustaining any competing baseball. Yeah. You just don't have a chance.
All right. We're going to move. Go ahead.
So, well, and it goes back to what we talked about the Red Sox in the offseason. Like they don't have any depth. They were kind of a big injury away from being in trouble. Story went down and they've never solved that. Then you had other injuries pop up, and you don't have a first baseman, you don't have a shortstop. Like you've got this, although Dominic Smith hasn't been terrible filling in, but like you've got nobody. There's nobody behind these guys, and when you get an injury, there's nobody to come in and fill it in. And I go back to what we've been saying for years. These are the Boston Red Sox. This is not I'm going to pick on my team, the Kansas City Royals, but the Kansas City Royals of many years, their starter was a AAA guy and the backup guy was a AA guy. Like you expected that from these little market teams that weren't trying to compete. But these are the freaking Boston Red Sox, and you've got no real good major league talent on the bench. Like what happened to the days of having guys like Brock Holt, stuff like that coming off the bench? Like, where did those guys go? You've got no depth in this organization, but you get all these young guys that are going to be here one day. We've heard about Marcelo Mayer for like 10 years, it feels like. Like, when are you just going to start bringing some of these guys up and saying, look, we've got talent in other levels. Let's just bring them up because we got nothing on the bench. And as the Boston Red Sox have the resources to actually have a bench.
I mean, I think they have kind of brought those young guys up, though. You got Cassis, you got Dahlbeck that's kind of not panned out. But I mean, Rafaela is a Red Sox, so they are bringing them up, but they're just not all hits. Like,
well, I think with the Marcelo Mayer, I think you have to. I think it's a real conversation to be had. The money that they paid Trevor Story was fully knowing full well they're going to sign Devers and they're going to let Xander walk. And Trevor Story is going to be your shortstop for a handful of years because that's the money we paid him. And through no fault of his own, in a way, I mean, with the injuries, it's not like this guy's, not in physical shape when he gets hurt running out of ground ball. I mean, this guy was put his body on the line and he had a terrible injury. I mean, if you bring Mayer up, now I want Mayer up. Don't get me. This is not me advocating keeping him down, but I have to wonder if some of this Red Sox thought process, if you bring Marcelo Mayer up and he does what he's expected to do, Trevor Story is now out on a limb. Like, now what do you do with Trevor Story? And I agree. There are options. But I think they are looking at it going, the money that we paid him, he is our shortstop. And if we bring Marcelo Mayer up and he does what he's expected to do, there is no way we can start next year with him not as our starting shortstop.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this is just them trying to string it along as long as they possibly can. I don't agree with it. Part of me wonders if that goes into their thought process at all.
Yeah. Or the flip side is, what if he comes up and falls flat on his face? What does that do to his development and the perspective of the fans? But the Red Sox of old would say, we're going to put the best 25 guys we can buy or find on the roster. This Red Sox team doesn't do that anymore. They put the best, they grab a core group of a few, and then, almost like in the Belichick way, find a few guys off the scrap heap and piece them in there and hope it works out. And they're doing that to keep their payroll down. They're not where they used to be. But like, I go back to, this is the Boston Red Sox. Like, this is one of the top 5 markets in baseball. Why are you playing small? Why are you playing conservative? Why are you giving us second tier talent when you don't have to? Yeah. You just don't have to.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But all right, we're going to move on to some trivia and then some before and after second edition here. So we had some last week, a big hit. So we're going to do it again this week. And now Harrison's back, so he gets to join. But first, we're going to do the trivia. If you're watching and you know the answer, you can throw it in the chat here. But here is your first trivia question. Who is the only player to win at least 5 home run titles and at least 5 Gold Gloves?
Oh, wow. Griffey?
No.
That was my guess, too. Bonds did win 5 Gold Gloves, right?
Nope. Not Palmeiro, not Bonds. No. Infielder.
And when you say home run title, you're talking like overall home run lead.
Yeah, he leads the league in home runs. Infielder.
Not Robinson.
Nope, not Willie Mays. Not Robinson. Right position though.
Schmidt.
Not A-Rod. What did you say, Harrison?
Schmidt.
Yes, Mike Schmidt.
Okay. Good call.
Yep, Mike Schmidt. All right.
I wouldn't have guessed that'd be an infielder. There's so many more outfielders that come to mind.
Right. But yeah, I mean, he led the league in home runs for 5+ years. So, all right, here we go. Before and after. And here we go. First one player from Globe Life Park's team plus current left-handed starting pitcher for the Phillies that is dominant in the playoffs.
Ranger Suarez, right?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So one player from Globe Life Park's team.
So the Rangers.
Yep. So it's Texas Ranger Suarez.
Oh, the team. I was like, what? I don't know if there was the last name Ranger.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
You got me on that one.
Oh, right.
I
Okay.
got you.
I
was thinking of a player from the team at Globe.
Yeah. So was I.
I was thinking one singular player instead of saying
No,
Texas
Texas
Rangers.
Ranger.
Got it.
Right.
Yep, that makes sense. Texas Ranger Suarez. I like that.
Yep. All right, next one. Former first baseman for the Orioles who had an epic fall off, plus the current infielder for the Blue Jays with an epic mustache.
So Chris Davis. What is his name?
Jesus Christ. It's not Schneider, right? Not Davis Schneider?
It is
Davis Schneider?
Yeah, Chris
Nice.
Davis Schneider.
His stash is so epic.
It's so good. And he destroyed the Red Sox in his debut, too.
Sure did.
Yes, he did.
He's a local, isn't he? A New England guy? New Hampshire, something like that?
I don't know.
Did I totally make that up? Let me look that up.
You could. I have no idea. Schneider sounds like a New Englander for sure. I don't know. All right, next one.
Born in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. So no.
Okay. All right. Left-handed pitcher who has a famous surgery named after him, plus former starting pitcher / closer with 213 wins and 154 saves.
Go ahead, Sean.
Tommy John Schmaltz.
Yes. Tommy John Schmaltz. There we go. Okay. Current pitcher for the Astros plus current shortstop for the Tigers.
So Christian Javier Baez.
Yeah, nice one. Nice one, Harrison. Yep. Christian Javier Baez.
Did you guys see that? Did you see that video for Javier Baez that I'd shared? The scout that predicted his fall off because he was saying the guy.
Yeah.
He's got no feel for the game, for situations. He does one thing and one thing only, and he just can't adjust his game. And they called his fall off before he signed the big contract.
Dude, he just destroyed the Diamondbacks single-handedly in that last series.
And that's what he does. He'll blow up for a week and then disappear.
Yeah, crazy. All right, next one. Current left-handed pitcher for the Nationals that was on the World Series winning team in 2019, plus the current ace for the Orioles.
Patrick Corbin Burns.
Yes, Patrick Corbin Burns.
It's funny that he's still there, and he's been hurt a bunch too.
Yeah.
That they still have that staff from the World Series team all hurt.
Yeah, right. Minus Strasburg.
Patrick Corbin.
Yeah. All right. Current right fielder for the Pirates. He also plays other positions as well. Plus the current pitcher for the Padres who threw the first Padres no-hitter in their history.
Is this
Connor Joe Musgrove?
Yes, Connor Joe Musgrove. Good. Crushing it this week. Current left-handed hard-throwing reliever for the Angels that started in Cincinnati, then went to the Royals before the Angels. Plus current platooning first baseman for the Red Sox.
So Dominic Smith is the first baseman.
Who's the other one?
Left-handed pitcher.
Who's the other platooning first baseman you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
the Red Sox picked him up and his first pitch got hit in the wrist.
Oh yeah, Garrett Cooper there.
Yeah.
So this reliever started in Cincinnati.
Amir Garrett.
Yes.
Amir Garrett.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, Amir Garrett Cooper. Yep. All right, next one.
I forgot about Garrett Cooper.
Current utility infielder for the Minnesota Twins, plus journeyman relief pitcher that pitched for the Red Sox between 2006 and 2008. I narrowed it down to that because you guys would hopefully get him, but I think you'll get him by the Minnesota clue here. This is a tougher one.
You think?
Oh boy. So
left-handed stick for the Twins. Kind of plays all over, but I think mostly second base.
I don't know, man. Mush brain. I don't know.
oh boy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't put a name to it.
His first name is Edward.
Oh, Edouard Julien. Oh, and then Julian.
Come on, you got it.
It begins with an A, doesn't it?
No, not an A.
Oh,
It
You should
is.
think of Assange, the WikiLeaks guy.
This is.
Oh, Julian Tavares. That guy was nuts.
Yeah, Edward Julian Tavares. Yeah,
That's a good one. But
that was a tougher
wow.
one. Yeah. All right. Former second baseman that set a record for 6 straight 100 RBI seasons, plus former left-handed pitcher who played for 9 teams, but most known for his time in Atlanta from 89 to 95.
Is it
Jeff Kent Herbeck?
It's not Herbeck. What did you say, Harrison?
Is it Jeff Kent Merker?
It is Jeff Kent Merker. Yes, Jeff Kent Merker. Nice. Okay. Current second baseman / third baseman for the Cardinals, plus current Padres utility infielder who won a Silver Slugger in 2020 with the Giants.
Utility infielder.
Mm-hmm. He also played for the Twins. He had a good year with the Twins when he was there too.
Current second baseman, third baseman for the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's say the Cardinals third baseman is Arenado. Second baseman is Edman.
Yeah. So this guy kind of plays like around. His first name starts with a B.
Oh, Brandon Crawford.
Not Brandon Crawford.
No, wasn't.
It's Brendan something. That's a tough one. All right, I'm gonna give it to you.
Sorry, I got nothing here.
Brendan Donovan Solano.
Donovan Solano won a Silver Slugger.
And 2020, 60 games, dude. Probably had 4 hits. And 1 Silver Slugger.
Dude, we would have been here all night if you asked me to. If you wouldn't give this to me, we've been here all night.
Yeah, I never in a million years would have gotten that one. I would eventually gotten Donovan, but never Solano.
Yeah.
Although to keep in mind, Luke Voigt was the home run champion that year too. So he's now in the minor league. So who cares?
But Luke Voigt hits home runs. Donovan, I don't even know who Donovan Solano is for
hit home runs. He hits home runs.
Now he hits nothing.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Hard throwing athletics relief pitcher who has bursted on the scene, plus the manager of the Yankees during the Babe Ruth era.
So it's Mason Miller.
Mm-hmm. How well do you know your Yankees managers during the Ruth era?
Not well.
During the Ruth era.
Yep.
So Mason Miller. So it's Miller. I have no idea.
It is Miller Huggins.
I almost said that because it just sounded so random.
Yeah. Mason Miller Huggins. There you go.
All right.
Current late inning reliever for the Rays, plus current veteran utility infielder for the Royals.
You loved your utility infielders. Dude.
I know. You're killing me with utility guys.
I can't help it when they have 2 first names. That's the only thing I can.
Let's give us all the positionless players that we can't pin down. Okay.
Well, it's because they have unique names and I can't put them together.
For the teams that nobody watches.
Easy now on the Royals.
You should get this Royal. You should get this Royals one.
Oh, I should.
He played for the Pirates at some point. Played for the Orioles at some point. I think he might be actually the Rays closer almost at this point. He's got nasty stuff, right-hander, crazy changeup. He's got 2 first names as his name.
Oh, Jason Adam.
Yep. And then your veteran utility infielder.
Oh, Adam Frazier.
Yes, there we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Adam Frazier. Yep.
Yes, Jason Adam Frazier. Whew, yeah. Painful. All right.
I sent you guys a clip like 2 weeks ago of Frazier making that crazy play in the outfield.
Yeah. All right. Current left-handed pitcher for the Miami Marlins, plus Hall of Fame third baseman that played for the Reds and Phillies.
Pitcher for the Miami Marlins.
Hall of Fame third baseman. What era did he play?
He like just got into the Hall of Fame. Like last year or the year before.
So Scott Rowland.
Scott Rowland. It's probably the only pitcher the Marlins got left right now, lefty.
Yeah, because Weathers leads them in all the sorts of categories. Who's the other?
Well, his last name's Scott. I don't know.
Yeah. It is Tanner Scott.
Oh.
Tanner Scott Rowland. Yep. All right, next one.
I know he's a starter.
Yeah. Rookie second baseman for the Tigers, plus 11-time Gold Glove first baseman who played for the Cardinals and Mets.
So Keith Hernandez is the second one.
Yep.
Oh, what's that? I keep thinking Duncan Keith, the hockey player. I can't get Duncan Keith out of my head.
I literally almost just said Duncan Keith.
I can't get Duncan Keith, the hockey player, out of my head.
Another name for a young horse.
Yeah, Colt.
Yes.
Colt. Yeah.
Colt.
As you were saying that, I was like, Colt. I was thinking Colton, but Colt. Yeah. Colt.
Yep.
Colt Keith Hernandez. Good. All right. Center fielder who got cut off by Manny Ramirez, plus center fielder that played from 93 to 01 with the Orioles, Mets, Rangers, Red Sox, and Cubs.
Is this Johnny Damon Buford?
Yes, it is, nice. Harrison. Nice job. Johnny Damon
Buford. I love me the obscure Red Sox outfielders.
Yeah, you're welcome. Second and third baseman who spent most of his career with the Mets and Giants. Plus, before Ronald Acuna, he was the last player to achieve a 40-40 season.
So, Edgardo Alfonso Soriano?
Yes.
Oh, geez, that was too easy for you, huh?
That was a good one.
Nice. I didn't even have a minute.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's a good one.
Once I had Alfonso, it was like, all right, I got this.
Yeah. All right. Left-handed reliever acquired from Seattle when the Red Sox traded Wade Miley there. Okay. Plus, Colorado Rockies' sole All-Star representative from last year that won the All-Star Game MVP.
Oh, I can picture the lefty. I'm blanking on the All-Star.
He was the catcher. Still is the catcher there.
God, and I pay no attention to the Rockies.
Yeah.
Like none.
This is...
So Elias Diaz, right? Is that Elias Diaz?
Elias Diaz.
Oh.
This is kind of an obscure pull right here.
Yes, it's not who I thought it was, the pitcher.
It is Roenis Elias Diaz.
Oh,
yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, he went back and forth between the two clubs a couple times, actually. He was like Seattle to Red Sox to Seattle. And I think the Red Sox picked him back up at one point, too. It was weird. But, yep. All right, next one. Reliever, mostly known for his time with the Orioles and the Rays, plus current catcher for the Chicago Cubs. The backup catcher.
Of course.
That catcher also spent a lot of time in Cleveland.
Oh, Yan Gomes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
and then
Esteban Yan
Gomes. Yeah. So the relievers are hard because they're like such journeymen that, and like if they don't have any accolades, it's like really hard to like describe them. But there's not many people that share last names with people's first names, so it's like it's been a challenge to do some of these. All right,
I'm impressed you found so many of them.
Yeah, I still have more on my list too. All right, left-handed reliever from 2009 to 2016 for the Blue Jays who wore distinct glasses, plus 3-time All-Star for the Detroit Tigers who also had a son play in the MLB.
So it's Cecil Fielder's the second one.
Yep.
So was it some sense like Brett Cecil?
Yeah.
Was it
Brett?
Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Brett Cecil Fielder.
When I think of the relievers with glasses, I always think of Kyle Farnsworth.
Yep, for sure. All right. Nice one with that one. Worked it out there. Okay. Yankee rookie that hit the first home run of his career and his first at bat back to back with Aaron Judge, who also homered in his first career at bat, plus current backup catcher for the Guardians.
So this guy and Aaron Judge went back to back, and they were both their first at bat, first home runs.
Yes, we had that trivia question a few months ago.
He was a trivia question before, and I cannot remember his name to save my life. And the current backup catcher for the Guardians,
who can't hit a lick. He actually hit his first home run in like 5 years.
He with? Oh God.
He was playing for the Pirates last year, and every time he got up and like he grounded out to second, everyone like stood up and applauded because he made contact.
Not Jose Tabata, right?
No,
it's Austin Hedges.
Yep. So then, what's the first guy? He was supposed to be like the next big thing for the Yankees, and didn't.
Was it like a Taylor or a Tyler?
Yes, Tyler Austin Hedges.
Yep.
Yes. Good. Yep. Good. All right, next one. Starting pitcher who hang with me here.
Jesus,
who pitched
it's a long one.
Yeah, who pitched from 2000 to 2015. Braves, Cardinals, Cubs, Rockies, Nationals, D-backs, Twins, Padres. He has one All-Star in Colorado and a Silver Slugger when he was in St. Louis. Plus the center fielder that caught the last out of the World Series clincher for the Braves in 1995.
Oh, there's a lot of clues there.
I would focus on the last one. And then you might be able to get the first one. Because the first one's a well-known, too. I think you guys could get him.
Yeah, so last out of the 95 series.
No, center fielder.
Wasn't Terry Pendleton. Who's out there?
No. This is.
No.
You got it. You got it.
Was it Grissom?
It was Grissom.
Marquis Grissom. So it's Jason Marquis Grissom.
Yeah, nice.
I'm like, I can picture the play in my head, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yep, there you go. Just took a little bit to process there. It's fine. Nice. Got it. Painful.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And that's the last.
I just kept thinking. You were thinking pitchers in Colorado, pretty decent in Colorado. Played the end of his career. I just kept thinking Jeff Suppan, and I'm like, I couldn't get Jeff Suppan out of my head.
Yeah, I'd love to meet the guy whose first name is Suppan.
No, I know that. I know that's why I didn't say anything. That's why I didn't say anything. But I just couldn't get Jeff Suppan out of my head.
Yeah.
Well, I immediately thought Mike Hampton when it was like Silver Slugger. I'm like, oh, Mike Hampton. But
yeah, Jason Marquis. So awesome. All right. So we're gonna head home now and wrap up some other news here. St. Louis Cardinals released their City Connects, and they are the laziest things I have ever seen in my life. It is literally the jerseys are the same Cardinals emblem with the two Cardinals in the bat, and it just says Same font, and it just says the Lou.
The Lou.
Yeah,
Who
those
calls it
uniforms
the Lou?
belong. Those uniforms belong in the Lou.
Who calls St. Louis the Lou?
Apparently, locals do. They call it the Lou.
Is that true?
So, from what I understand, it was Nelly that originally kind of coined it as the Lou. I don't know.
And then,
whatever.
Just like the Detroit hats, it literally just says STL across the top.
You're like, oh shit, we need hats.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because like they can't even make regular uniforms, so it seems like they're like mailing these in because they're so screwed up on the other side.
Right.
I don't know. It's bad.
At this point, I'm just ready for them to be over. But I felt these ones were just really, really lazy. I don't, unless St. Louis is really that uninteresting. But you didn't even like put the arch in there somewhere. Like I didn't see even like usually they have a video that describes like what they put in the jersey. I haven't even seen one. They just like threw it out there and was like, yeah, here they are. So
yeah, it was weak. It was weak.
Goodness gracious.
I said this a couple weeks ago. I'm done with City Connect. I'm over the program. I'm over the uniforms. This has gone on forever. They've gotten worse as they've gone. I feel like I'm done with it. Let's just roll the last couple out and call it a day.
I agree. So the last thing I have was this interesting reel that I came across coming home from dinner tonight before the show. Birmingham Southern, a D3 college, is advancing to the Super Regionals. Why is this significant? Well, the school is shutting down permanently on May 31st. So they'll be playing for a school that no longer exists. That is kind of nuts to think about. Like, oh yeah, who you win this for? I won this for my school. No, I didn't win it for the school. It's just kind of a weird story.
Yeah, it's odd.
It's really crazy.
Like if they go on, like is the school still like going to be able to like cover their expenses, or are they paying to play out of pocket at this point?
I mean, it's D3, dude.
That's true. They probably were paying out of pocket anyways.
Yeah.
There was never any money in it.
Dude, you played with me at D3. We got what, like $4 for like travel money? And it was
like enough to buy like a friggin' order off the dollar menu, boys.
Yeah. I was like, can I have 3 fries? You mean like 3 small fries? No, like 3 French fries. That's it. Like 1, 2,
all
3.
I can afford.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. If we pool our money together, we can split a burger.
Right. That's just crazy. I can't imagine that. Going on a run, your school is no longer a school. They're just shutting down May 31st, and you're going out to represent your school in the Super Regionals. It's just crazy. But yeah. Weird. All right. So it was kind of a slow news week for me. There wasn't a ton of stuff that happened, but do you guys have anything to add? I know Sean's got something.
Well, I just had that California. We saw it was what?
Oh yeah,
Division II high school. Was it the state championship? I think it was, and it was like home teams down 1, kid on second base, and the kid at the plate takes one like down the left field line, right? And there's like a cell phone video. There's not like Nesson cameras, right? It's like a cell phone video. So
link in the
takes
chat.
it down. He links in the chat. So he takes it down the left field line, right? And as the person that's doing it is like tracking the ball, and it comes down in like a shadow. So the ball kind of disappears. And you see the third base umpire point like it's fair, right? You see the left fielder kind of put his hands up right away, like it bounced over the fence. And then no one really knows what's going on. And then the third base umpire kind of jogs down, and he doesn't really make any kind of signals at all. He kind of jogs his way down there and then turns around and kind of jogs his way back. Well, no one knows what's going on. And then he does one of these, like home run. So the place goes nuts. There's a whole like light show. The team comes out. They like mob this kid as he crosses home plate. And then the umpires get together after that, and they're like, nope, ground rule double. So then the kid has to go back to second base. It's a tie game. It goes into extra innings, and then the other team ends up winning it in 10. It was very bizarre. And then I was doing my Twitter sleuthing. So I was like watching like every video I could, like freeze framing and like zooming in and all this stuff. Like I spent way more time on this than I should have. And I'm pretty sure that they got it right by calling it a ground rule double. Like I think there is one camera angle, the same camera angle, but when you zoom in and you like do it slow motion, you can see the ball comes down and then bounces in fair territory and then kind of kicks to the left over the short wall. That shows it like hitting in play and then bouncing out of play, which of course would be a ground rule double. And I do think they ended up getting it right, but it was an absolute shit show because this guy's just jogging his way back being like, yeah, home run. Like it was chaos.
Yeah.
It was absolute chaos. Like, and
That's
you can
terrible.
see on the original video in the link that Harrison posted, if you just watch the video regular speed, you can see as the ball hits, you can see the ump go like this. Like that's fair.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's telling you that that's a fair ball that landed in fair territory. So it was very bizarre the way he like jogged his way down and then came back and was like, I guess home run. Like it was weird. It was very weird. It was very weird. If you guys haven't seen it, I would watch it. You obviously form your own opinions, but I did some sleuthing and I'm quite certain they got it right with ground rule double.
I just hate that like a state championship comes down to something like that. That's tough. That's real tough.
It sounded like it was leaving the state off the bat. I mean, the kid sounded like he got all of it too, you know, but I think they got it right.
Yeah, man. Have you guys ever hit with those BB core bats?
Not in like a live game.
Dude, I've been in a live game.
EP and stuff with them, but never in like a live game.
Dude, those balls go nowhere.
Yeah, they jump. Yeah. They sound it.
They sound it.
They sound it, but the ball doesn't go anywhere.
It sounds good.
Right.
Yeah, but
like,
I'm
if
saying
you hit it on the sweet spot, it sounds like you got all of it.
Right,
yeah,
but it doesn't go anywhere.
It's like a deader sound than it used to be, but it still sounds nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not trying to kill kids. I mean, like, you get some of these guys, some of these high school kids are huge.
Yeah,
man.
I miss the days of like the bing, like the high pitch thing.
I know.
Give me those Omaha Golds all day,
dude. Give me the Omaha. Give me the Copperhead. Let's do it.
Oh man,
we played in high school. We played with wood bats, so we never really got to use. Like,
look at me! I went to a rich school. We could afford wooden bats.
That's not what I'm saying,
dude. If we broke one wooden bat, our season would be canceled. We'd be like, we're done. We don't have any more bats.
We did when we got to the state tournament. We got to use metal. Like we got to use the aluminum bats, which was pretty sweet. Like that was a nice little like boost.
Yeah, Sean Peterschmidt here rocking his low grain wood bats.
Unbelievable. It's the last time I no more talking for me.
We had to buy our own wood bats, but all right.
We did have to buy our own wood bats. They weren't supplied to us.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, well.
So take it back. So I got one more thing. So I was watching the Padres and the Braves had to they played doubleheader. I got rained out on Saturday, so they played doubleheader today. And I saw this on Twitter. I'm by no means doing this research on my own, but Luis Arraez for San Diego, right? He has 2,389 career plate appearances. This is a guy, Ryan Spader, is the guy that put this up. Luis Arraez, 2,389 career plate appearances. He has struck out looking on a third pitch, strike three, one time. Right? A third pitch, strike three. So that means strike one, strike two, strike three looking. Right? So it's not that he's struck out looking one time. It has to be three consecutive pitches, like strike one, then strike two, then strike three. He has struck out in his career 24 times. He has struck out on three pitches. Only one of those was looking.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, talk about the ability to put the bat on the ball. And I know, like, we've lauded over this guy for, whatever. But that's just to put that into perspective is insane. And considering the baseball is now all about swings and misses. Like it's all, I mean, you get up there, you foul off strike one, you take strike three down the middle. I mean, some of the best hitters in the world get froze on curveballs. They get frozen on changeups. They get frozen on off-speed pitches. One time in this guy's career, he has looked at the third pitch, strike three once. That's insane.
You watch his swing. They broke it down the other day. Who are they playing? The Braves, I think. I tuned in for a minute when he was hitting, and he had two strikes. and they showed how like his back foot doesn't even move. He doesn't rotate it. He doesn't
no, it's
nothing.
just all hands.
It is completely still. Hands. And he is just straight contact, just throws the bat head at the ball, no matter where it is, and just slaps it. And it like he is the ultimate contact hitter. I mean, I wish I could have seen Tony Gwynn more growing up, but like I said, we didn't have the access to baseball back then as we do now to be able to see these guys on the West Coast. But his approach at the plate is insane. And even when he gets like sawed off, he's somehow still strong enough to just bloop it over the infielders.
Yeah.
And it's just, he just finds a hole.
I look at guys like Tony Gwynn. I wish I got to see more. I was too young. Similar with like a Wade Boggs type of thing. Like I was just too young, like when he was kind of doing his thing, Rod Carew. Like, but Luis Ariz is like our version of that. And it's just so incredibly impressive to see it. The hand-eye coordination is insane. You know, the ability to just let balls travel as deep as he possibly can. And then, you know, for everybody else, that ball gets back here and it's too late. Nope, he's not just fouling it off. He's putting it down the left field line. Like the whole thing is insane. It makes no sense. No. It really doesn't make any sense.
He's so quiet. He's just so quiet. And then last second, he's just like, boom, hands to the ball and he's done. Like,
it's got to be like I would, as like, if I were a pitcher, I'd be like, I'm just going to hit this guy. Like, he's going to get on anyways. I'm just going to make him earn it. Like, he's going to get on. And like, how frustrating is that? I mean, you certainly run into guys throughout the league that are like tough outs, tough at bats, right? They foul pitches off. But for him, he doesn't just foul off good pitches. He puts good pitches in play and makes your defense make a play.
Yeah.
Like, and that's got to be the ultimate frustration. It's like, I get up 0-2 on this guy. I make a great pitch and he's on first base.
Yep. Right.
More often than not. Yep. More often than not.
And Luis Ariz, you know, he's bucking the modern trend. No, this is a guy that, and you pointed this out last year, Sean. This is a guy whose advanced stats and his StatCast stuff is ugly. His hard hit rate, his barrel rates, like they're ugly. His advanced stats and his StatCast numbers are gross. But he does what players used to do, which is he puts the ball in play, and when you put the ball in play, good things happen. And he hits it where they're not. He's not trying to rip laser beams in the gap. He's trying to put the ball in play to somewhere where somebody isn't. And because of that, his StatCast numbers don't jump off the page at you because his exit velo is not high and his barrel rate's not high. But then you look at his batting average, no BP, and go, holy crap, like this guy's a machine.
Right. Yeah. And I wouldn't.
It's not sexy.
You know, I don't think you wouldn't want a team full of Luis Arizes, right?
No.
Like that has some definite downfalls. But just like you don't want a team of Stantons and Judges, right? Like you have to have like a mix. You have to have guys that get on. You have to have guys that drive in. You have to have guys that put up tough at bats. You have to have guys that by their second time around in the fourth inning have made the starting pitcher throw every possible pitch that he has. Like you need a guy out there that's going to grind his way through at bats, even if it ends up being a flyout, but it's an 8-pitch at bat. You make the pitcher throw everything. You get those guys in the dugout a look at every pitch in this arsenal. Like those guys are invaluable.
Yeah.
Like good teams have guys that do that. Now, maybe not to the level of Luis Ariz because there's not many guys like that, but you need those types of guys. And I said it last year when we were talking about Ariz. I just hope that it starts to bring these types of guys back to baseball a little bit. Where like, hey, if that's what you do, then be the very best at that. Like, don't change your approach. You know, like, don't do the whole, like, well, I'm going to go for launch angle now because chicks dig the long ball and that's where I get paid. Like, no, like, if you're the guy that can place it over the second base, the shortstop, you can place it into right center, then be that guy.
Yeah.
Because there will be a place for you. Like, the pendulum is going to start to swing back where with pitchers throwing so hard and just trying to pound the strike zone as much as they can to get their strikeouts, there's going to be an opportunity for these kinds of guys to make a name for themselves again by just putting the ball in play and getting on base and setting the table. So, like, be that guy. So I hope that we start to see some of these guys start to develop a little bit more in minor league baseball, and then we can see some more of these guys make their way up because that's what good baseball teams have. Good baseball teams have those guys that just nothing sexy, but like it works. And it keeps the train moving. And, you know, now you have your Judges, now you have your Pete Alonsos who hit in the low 200s, but they're going to get north of 100 RBIs because they're always up with guys on.
Yeah, ask a guy like Mike Trout how much he misses a guy like that in that lineup.
Sure.
Ask a guy like, think of all the guys that batted for years behind Jeter and what he did for them by always being on base. And he'd have an 8-pitch at bat and fist a ball to right field. And like, there's nothing more satisfying as a hitter than having a tough pitcher that you're battling, and then you just like dunk a ball into right center field.
No, it's demoralizing.
It's more crushing than giving up a bomb, because a bomb is an instant and it's over. Now you got a runner on base after a tough at bat. Now he's got to do it.
Right?
Exactly. Now you're on base. He's got to worry about you. It is so demoralizing to a pitcher to have a guy like that in the ropes and they give up a little blooper.
And talk about demoralizing, man. How demoralizing would it be for a hitter? You're third way through the lineup. You're facing the same pitcher for the third time, and now he gets to break off a slider that he hasn't shown all game. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
right? Like he's grinding us down with fastballs and changeups. We have no chance. Now all of a sudden, third time around, he's snapping off a slider that he's never had to show because we don't have any guys that are forcing him into stress pitches. Like those add up. And it might not matter in a random dog day game in July, but that matters over the course of 162, and it certainly matters in the postseason. Right? Like that matters in the postseason. So
and the team rallies behind that, and it becomes part of what they do.
Of course.
Nice. Harrison, do you have anything else for this week?
I do. I got 2 things for you guys.
All right.
So, David Fletcher. Does anybody remember David Fletcher from his time with the Angels?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, David Fletcher. So, David Fletcher was present at the 2021 poker game in San Diego where our favorite interpreter met the bookies. Fletcher himself was quite the gambler, and is believed to be Shohei Ohtani's closest friend in baseball. The two of them spent a lot of time together when he was in Anaheim for 5 years together. They overlapped. So David Fletcher is now also under investigation for placing bets with the same bookie. He's currently in AAA with Gwinnett in the Brave system. But Fletcher is potentially coming out as this kind of wheelman in the middle of all this that actually introduced Ippei to the bookies, placed his own bets, and kind of began this whole cycle. Fletcher has another friend that's with him, that's also in the minor leagues still, who was actually betting on baseball, who's going to get pulled in to be investigated and likely banned from baseball. But what we're learning in all this is that, first of all, Shohei Ohtani had a friend, which nobody realized, in David Fletcher. But there are a lot more players that were in this circle than was understood at the time. And they continue to pull more information out. They expect to learn a lot from Fletcher, who was very close to this Boyer guy who ran the booking operation. But it looks like Fletcher is becoming this massive connector to a lot of athletes that got into this gambling scene. So he's been called in by the league. He may not go because he's going to be also investigated criminally, but he may be a guy that can shed a lot of light on what exactly went on and what was the extent of this gambling that was happening. Because he's the only guy who knows what Ippei was doing and knows Ohtani well enough to know what Ohtani maybe did or didn't know.
Yeah. Isn't he down there throwing knuckleballs too?
Yeah, he actually pitched yesterday, an inning and a third. He's doing a lot of things. I mean, he's still believed to be kind of like that next guy up if there's an injury, but he had a few okay seasons in Anaheim and then kind of fell out, went to the minors and ended up with the Braves, and he's kind of hanging on. But it looks like he's deeply involved in this booking operation that maybe will shed some light on the whole Shohei thing.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're going to learn a lot more about this, and more information will come out. And there's a belief around baseball that this is going to circle Shohei for a long time because it's going to take them a long time to unwind this whole thing. It doesn't appear to be bothering him.
Unfortunately, it won't though. Like it won't. I mean, this country's attention span is long as the next news cycle. We can say honestly, we can say that all we want until the next thing with the next athlete happens, and then Shohei's off the hook.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's like it or love it or hate it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
The fear the media has this is going to. I was going to say the fear the media has this is going to turn to the Mitchell Report. It's going to drag on for a long time and then produce nothing. People are looking for some meat, and they're probably not going to find it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's already going away amongst the baseball media. Like
Right.
you tune into a Dodger game, it doesn't get like no one talks about it.
No.
You scroll through Twitter, MLB.com, ESPN, whatever, you check the scores from the night before, the games you missed and whatnot. I mean, it's not getting written about.
No.
You know what I mean? It's already kind of fading its way out because like we just don't have the attention span for it anymore. And so it'll be the thing that everybody kind of remembers, but it's like, oh yeah, I mean, that was a few months ago. And then when it does end, like when the investigation ends and then whatever is announced, it will be kind of brought up a little bit again. But that's it. Like I don't know. I really don't see it really going anywhere now.
I think
I don't either.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long, drawn out thing in the background that'll lead to nothing.
Yep.
That clearly isn't bothering the Dodgers or Shohei at all. They're moving on, doing their thing, and clearly it's Ippei is going to take the fall, whether it was Shohei was in it or not. But what's interesting now is they're capturing more people in this net as they investigate. So
yeah,
I think where you'll get some interest is how wide this goes. How many people are actually involved in it? But I don't think anything really comes of it about Shohei.
No.
All right, last thing. So Rob Manfred was speaking more about expansion and the key things for baseball, and his biggest priorities are getting a new home for the Tampa Bay Rays and getting the Oakland Athletics either situated in Sacramento or Vegas because they want to turn their attention to expansion. It's likely expansion won't happen until 29 or 30, which is towards the end of his tenure. But Manfred envisions a regional realignment like we've talked about, 8 divisions of 4 teams. The belief is inside of baseball that he's going to look to remove the American and National Leagues and turn this into 8 regionally based divisions. And the belief behind that is they put the universal DH in and they put the balanced schedule in to blur the lines of American and National League. To say, hey, it doesn't matter anymore what league you're in. Your division winners all end up in the playoffs. Here's your 8 playoff teams, and we're good. We don't need wild cards anymore. We don't need leagues. We don't need any of this stuff. We've got 8 playoff teams. They get seeded and dumped in a pool and they play. So the belief is that is where we'll end up when they go to expansion. Now, this is obviously 6 years away from figuring that out, but baseball is setting the groundwork now to go to a single league with regionally lined up divisions that would bring all of your playoff teams out of them. So if you're in the Northeast, you could have the Red Sox, Yankees, Mets, and Phillies in a division together, and only one of those teams gets out of it into the playoffs. That would be bananas. That would be bananas.
Yikes.
Looking at Sean's face says everything.
So hold on. See, but then you got the Brewers, Twins, Tigers, Cubs, White Sox, Guardians.
No, it's only
Royals.
Before. It would only be 4. Yeah, so you have to split those into 2.
But I know, but like you have like those 8 teams, but then you got like a juggernaut in the Northeast. Yeah. Like I just feel like hockey does it 8 and 8, right? 8 on each side. Do 16 teams make the playoffs? And then they seed them, right? So 8 in the West, 8 in the East.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how? That's how they would do it? Or are you just saying 8 divisions across the league?
So there would be 8 divisions across the whole, because 8 times 6 is 32.
There'd be MLB.
So they would have Major League Baseball.
MLB. Right. 8 divisions of 4 teams, and 1 team from each division makes the playoffs.
Oh, see,
I think 8 teams in the postseason.
That's it. Yeah, you'd have your same 8 that you get now making the playoffs. Oh no, sorry, it's 6 and 6 now, so you get 12.
Yeah. Dude, I'd take the top 2 from each division and put them in the playoffs.
Well, and you have 16.
I'd have 16, 1,000%.
Lower you play less games. Then you got to play less games.
I'm all for it.
That's the other thing they brought up is they're also exploring the 154 game schedule to allow the playoffs to go another week, so you could actually have more teams in it. Anyways, so MLB is experimenting with these ideas of, do you do 1 league? Do you do 2 leagues? Do you do an East versus West? But it's going to require regional realignment. So you're going to have this mixture of teams that end up in these divisions based on where they are. And MLB has been using the universal DH and the balanced schedule to get us used to this idea and to give 5 or 6 years of runway to begin to eliminate the lines between how these leagues stand up to get the fans used to this concept.
I gotta be honest with you. Can I be honest? In the trust tree for a second? I don't
Always.
hate that. I don't hate that.
I don't hate it either. If as a Red Sox fan, like if you put them in the division of the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, and the Phillies, we may never go to the playoffs ever again.
Buddy, we're talking 6 years from now. Who knows what these teams are going to look like in 6 years?
No, I totally get that, but those are some stacked. Like you could have some divisions that are like nasty and divisions that are like a joke.
Buddy, 6 years ago, the Red Sox were the 2018 team. If you told me 6 years ago that 6 years from now we were going to be like, yeah, sign me up for that.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, who knows what these teams are going to look like in 6 years?
Totally fair.
I don't hate it, but I think there needs to be 16 teams in the playoffs.
Well, and maybe they'll do like 8 division winners and 4 wild cards, so you get your same 12. I mean, there's still a lot to figure out before now and then, but right. Manfred continues to allude to this idea of this is where we're going, and I don't know that I hate it.
Yeah, Raleigh and Sacramento.
I know that I don't hate it. I know that I don't hate it.
Raleigh and Sacramento. That's where the expansion teams are going.
Yeah, so I just put an article in the chat. Forbes did a whole breakdown of it. It was actually today, more behind the scenes with Manfred and some of their own thoughts around what's happening, because there's a big belief that this is where the league is going, and Manfred is alluding to it in his comments. So yeah. I just found it interesting. It would be a completely new look for baseball in that scenario.
Just what I mean, chaos. I'm an agent of chaos.
I know. You love the chaos,
John. Bring me chaos.
So
it sounds chaotic, and I'm in.
It does. It does, and there's lots of parts of it that I like, and there's some parts that I kind of go, well, I don't know how that would work, but it's interesting.
Tweaking. Some parts need tweaking.
Yep.
I think you should only play the teams in your division. Nobody else across the
162
league.
games. It's 162 of the 3 teams in your division.
Oh my goodness.
That would be gnarly. But
that would be wild.
Yeah. I think, honestly, like out of all professional sports, I think hockey has the best playoff format. Like it really does. It's 1 through 8. They reseed after each time. Like
no, they don't reseed after each time.
No, they don't.
Oh, and NBA reseeds, but
no. The only one that reseeds is the NFL.
I thought the hockey reseeded.
Because if the NBA did, the Celtics would have got the Pacers. I mean, they would have got the Pacers after.
Yeah.
After they beat.
Yeah.
Miami. Who the hell they beat
Miami.
In the first round?
Miami.
Yeah.
So my bad. But either way,
no, it's all right. So the only one that reseeds is football.
Okay.
The only thing, and I like hockey. I like the hockey playoffs. Don't get me wrong. The only thing that I wish the hockey playoffs did a little bit differently is, like, you're getting the biggest rivalries in hockey in the first round, because you're getting you get the team that wins the division is playing one of the wild cards, right? Like the division winners are playing the wild cards, but then 2 and 3 in the division are playing each other in the first round. But those teams play each other a bunch in the regular season because they're in the same division. Like those are the biggest rivalries. And like, that's the part that I'm used to it now. I just don't love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, it is what it is. I still like it very much. I still very much enjoy the format.
So question for you guys, with Nashville, we've touched on it a few times, but with Nashville kind of bowing out of this expansion, and I brought to the table last week that the Durham Bulls are not opposed to bringing an MLB team to Raleigh. What 2 cities do you think are the front runners for this expansion?
I still think it's Salt Lake and Montreal. I think they so badly want baseball back in Montreal.
I want it in Montreal so bad.
Because the media market is so big. It is massive. And if they did baseball right up there, new stadium, new team, a good owner. Because keep in mind, when you do expansion, these owners pay a $2 billion expansion fee. Like they're not buying a team, but they're basically buying a team. So if you found an owner with some money or an investor group with some money that was actually going to do baseball right in Montreal, it would be huge. So I still think you're going to end up with one more team out west because you don't have a lot out west. And Utah kind of sits right in the middle of those teams in the Midwest and the West. And then I think they badly.
Phoenix and the Arizona Coyotes are going there next year, so NHL is going.
Yeah, and Salt Lake is ramping up for sports. So I mean, I think that Salt Lake is one serious contender, and I think Montreal's the other.
I agree with you.
I just don't think the Carolinas are big enough to get the attention. Granted, and I say that, but Salt Lake's also a small market. But I think where it draws regionally, it would be good enough for them.
Well, Nick, you guys have Baltimore and DC and Atlanta. So I don't know what you're bitch moaning and complaining about.
There's 6 hours. They're 6 hours away.
I'm joking. I was playing on the fact that you hate that you're blacked out. It was just a joke. Didn't land. My bad.
It's all right. I'm now blacked out of the Reds that are 8 hours away too.
You're still the Reds now?
Still, yeah. 8 hours away and I'm blacked out of the Reds.
Horrible.
But I mean, I think you're right. I think Salt Lake City is definitely I think that's the top city right now because they're, like I said, pulling for hockey. They're making it a mecca now. Then they got big plans for that. But to see where this East Coast, if you will, where that one's going to go with Nashville kind of bowing out, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. But I think
Nashville
honestly,
seemed perfect.
It really did.
Spot to drop an expansion team
because there was something I saw. It was like where all the MLB teams were located.
Yep.
And I mean, it's just the layout of the country. Really, the cities are all around like kind of the border of the country. That's just how we are. But like you look at the East Coast and the whole, like all the way over to like Kansas City, there's literally nothing, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, everything over, there's nothing. So Nashville would have been a central market for all of those states to pull. But I mean, I don't hate the idea in Raleigh. You would get pull from South Carolina, from Virginia. There's 1.5 million people just around the Raleigh area anyways, plus Durham, plus Chapel Hill. Like you have a lot of people here. I just don't put it in Charlotte, please, if you're going to come, which I've heard that city's been thrown around. But I would rather have
they've got the infrastructure. Like that's the thing is these ballparks are going to be looking for access to highways, infrastructure that will allow them to be able to carry people in and out. And I think Vegas is off the list for expansion because if the A's don't go there, so either the A's end up there and they're off the table, or the A's don't go there, in which case I think MLB will say, well, we're not looking at you guys again because you pushed us away once. I think Vegas either takes the A's or gets nothing at all.
I agree.
And then out on the East Coast, I thought it was Nashville. I agree that the Carolinas could work, but I think when you look at a 4 million plus person market in Montreal, it's really hard to walk away from that and the history.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't hate that at all, but me selfishly, I want it in my backyard, and just to see the avid fan base that the Carolina Hurricanes have here, like I know that they would show out for baseball here too. I know
Hurricanes do well. I mean, if hockey can do well in the Carolinas, I'd hope baseball would do well.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. We've got some time to figure it out, but yeah. All right. Anything else before we wrap it up for tonight, fellas?
That's it.
I'm good.
All righty. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for chiming in. Please like and follow us on Facebook. You can also follow on Instagram. You can also subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. You can share our podcast, share our reels, comment on our reels. We love the interaction, so keep it up, and we will see y'all next Monday at 8 p.m.